that is not necessarily to discount his usefulness later on in the match as well. A lot of lockdown, maybe not so much on the damage front, but this Tusk could give Forzoomers problems really throughout the entirety of the match. So it is certainly not a bad pick for 2-based as we swing back over to the Forzoomers side. They should be looking at this point for some sort of core hero. Okay.
Okay.
That is some
Well,
sort of
and
core
the
hero.
Tusk versus Snapfire, it really versus the opening for Zoomers. Tusk is very adept at dealing with both. Having tag team and shards both persist. You don't need to worry about them, getting the stun or the disable purged off of. So it's nice in that regard. But also having two disables, you're always able to sort of find that Snapfire. Tusk is a hero that gives almost a deceptively lot of vision, where you're always able to sort of scout out and get an idea where the kisses are coming from and do something about it. But Faceless Void, it's very solid. It's very standard. Immediately countered by the Wraith King, though. You do have to sort of kill him once and then save the Chrono till after. But it's an interesting pickup versus the Wyvern. Usually we saw the Wyvern as a counter pick directly to that Faceless Void. So picking it into it is a little bit strange. But for Zoomers, they think they've got enough damage for the Chrono, even if the curse does go off. So it's a confidence pick, if anything.
Yeah, that confidence, whether it's sort of misplaced or not, remains to be seen, but they feel like they can power through it, and now they are going to have a little bit more in the way of magic damage to throw in there as well to complement the physical DPS of the Faceless Void, as they do take the Pugna, so you're going to have that Nether Blast, you'll have yourself the Life Drain play as well. Even something like the Decrep onto the Wraith or the Viper could sort of at least temporarily shut them down and prevent them from dishing out their maximum damage, so I think it's a pretty solid pick for the Zoomer side. They will have some concerns about durability with that Pugna, obviously, but for the most part, as long as he maintains separation, keeps his distance, I think the Pugna's going to do them some good here.
Well, and we saw yesterday, possibly from the four Zoomers, we could see Brax maybe playing that Magnus. That's really the only hero we've seen in the offlane position to sort of combo with this Faceless Void. So I wonder if simply 2-based are going to consider that, or if they're going to take this in a completely different direction. As I think now for Zoomers, their bans are completely correct. You have Abaddon Snapfire. Your lockdown is not the most spectacular. You need to take out these heroes that Annihilate could play that are going to cause you quite a lot of trouble. And to that point, if they really wanted to, they could just pick up the Tiny again, try to run it back mid. Tiny's still one of those heroes where you're going to be able to almost 1v9. I know last game we saw it in the 4 position, not having as much farm, still having quite a big impact. Just because you get that Blink Dagger and suddenly a hero on the map is incredibly vulnerable. And Pugna being one of those core heroes that can very, very easily get bursted, they could definitely look for that avenue. And really, it's just the mid lane pool is so thin at this point. And Forzumer's already picking up the Pugna. It's a little bit rough. I'm trying to think what else Annihilate could be looking for.
We'll have to wait and see for now, though. 2-based, one last ban to make here. They did focus in on that offlane role with the ban on the Tidehunter, but looking, well, for one more, really. You mentioned the Magnus. That honestly could make for a pretty solid ban here. Otherwise, I do believe the Mars is still in the pool, if that's something Zoomers would look to put Brax on. Other than that, though, you start losing a little bit of that dynamic role. It would be someone in a slightly less conventional sort of position in terms of a pause 3 hero. So we'll see what 2-based come to a consensus on here, but they've got to go a little bit faster. 15 seconds. There we go. We do see the ban out, and it is going to be that Mars. So they will take it away. That does leave the Magnus, though, still in the pool.
And aside from Magnus, you could maybe reach a little bit, go for, let's say, the Sand King, where it matches up decently well versus the Wraith King. You always have the Caustic. You just hit a few skeletons, then Burrow Strike, and the Wraith King does need to be constantly afraid of that. Aside from that, though, I really am looking for sort of an atypical hero that Brax could end up playing. If they wanted to, they could make it a Snapfire 3 and then pick up Phoenix. They could decide to rotate around in their lanes, and that's what picking up your mid laner sort of does. You do have that flexibility coming into not the last pick, but the last pick of your draft, but Pango's Sable. They'll go for it. It's Pango. It'll always do something.
You've always got, yeah, a baseline level of sort of contribution to be made there by that Pangolier. So, solid stuff from the Zoomer side. Meanwhile, for 2-based, what is the call here? They've got the Wraith King set up at the 1. The Viper, technically speaking, could be at both at the 2 or the 3, but I don't know how much TOOBASED are going to like that sort of Viper mid matchup. For Zoomers, we're assuming that the Viper was going into that sort of offlane role as they used their final bans on a couple of mid heroes in the Puck and the Ember. Will that assumption prove correct? I would say so. The Bristleback picked up now by TOOBASED.
Well, and it's a hero that, I mean, it's the hero. It is the one hero that we keep on coming back to. Now, this time around, am I as confident in it? To be honest, not really. Laning versus the Pugna, while you are able to sort of ignore him, you're going to be farming stacks, you're going to be trying to get something going for you. Once Gunner hits his level 6, he's just going to keep sucking you, and whenever you make a rotation to get those stacks, your tower is going to eat a lot of damage. So in that regard, Flea's going to need to be on point this game to sort of force the Pugna to feed, and if they don't bring the right amount of heroes, Gunner can definitely turn any situation when they decide to come in eventually. At the same time, you have Husky and Ocean both on heroes that can save you. You could leap over the shards, you can get the shield off, you can get those last second heals. And I think 4Zoomers, to be honest, have sort of given themselves a draft where they can almost ignore Annihilate completely and then focus on the other heroes, and they're sort of cut out to dry. TOOBASED is a very, very immobile lineup. If 4Zoomers can style on them in any game, it would be this game.
We do see, I had it up on the screen there for a little bit, the odds for the Game 2 winner for Zoomers favored coming into this, so I'm not entirely sure if that's so much based on the draft itself and more just sort of the general positioning of the teams, but for Zoomers, looking pretty good here. They won the first match. We'll see if they can make it 2 in a row as we will be loading in. There we go. Good to go here as we get that second match underway. We'll see how things play out. TOOBASED on the Radiant half the map, 4Zoomers on the Dire. As where are TOOBASED going here? They've got quite a few heroes sort of making their way up top. Oh. Well, we won't get to find out exactly what they've got.
The Viper's still in the base, but I'm sure that'll be settled in just a moment. Not like they're smoking out or anything. They'll probably just try to make a stronghold in their triangle. Don't want to let anybody into their neck of the woods.
Okay, short pause. They say they're ready to go, so hopping back into it, and now, well, we'll keep our eyes back on TOOBASED. As you mentioned, this isn't a smoke play. They're all sort of going in the same direction for now, but I don't anticipate that they're really going to be looking for anything too serious. They may just be trying to group up for some sort of early ward play. We do see one in Flea's hands right now, so might just get that deep ward in the north side jungle and then be content with that. Flea, yep, there it is. Drops down the ward, and actually, Sammy might want to be a little bit careful there. He's already skilled up the Time Walk, did have to deploy it once, so...
Well, and has a ward himself. We'll see if he sort of gets a cheeky one back here behind the tower. Maybe scouting, yeah, he's going to see everyone, actually. He's going to see all 5 heroes top.
Oh, man. Nice bit of vision there for the Faceless Void, but now, Sammy's got to try and get back under his tower without getting hit up too significantly, and Monkeys is continuing to sort of prowl around the area, but eventually it does look like TOOBASED will start backing themselves away, so it's a nice ward from Sammy Boy. He does have to sort of commit one Time Walk there initially, but he's already got that mana back. So, realistically speaking, not going to matter too much. Wards placed on both sides in the top lane. Meanwhile, we see the Obs ward put mid for the 4Zoomers side. And actually, where is that final ward for TOOBASED?
I think still on the Bristleback, waiting to place it. Probably just going to place it last second here. If Annihilate can get his bottle in a meaningful fashion, it's going to be it's going to feel okay. If he can't, then this lane is going to get quite bad. You see Gunner's already skilled up the Nether Ward, and it's just going to dissuade Annihilate from really doing anything. You see he's already at negative 0.6 mana, so he needs to be careful whenever he decides to actually use his quills, and we'll see if he actually ever gets a chance to hit this ward.
Yeah, it's so far up here, he basically had to cross over the entirety of the river to get it, so... Annihilate, not going to have a fun time, but we'll see what he can do in between those Nether Wards. The cooldown, little bit long here, so it's not like Gunner's going to have it up all the time, but the problem for Annihilate is, with that ward up on the high ground usually, if he doesn't have vision from his own creep wave, he will basically have to look for the debuff to actually determine whether or not he can go in, which... Annihilate's a professional player. This isn't a pub match. He's going to know when the ward is down, but the timing in between those wards is when he's going to push forward. We see him doing exactly that right now. He's going to try to take it down. Oh, never mind. Gunner able to deny it. Even hits him up with the Nether Blast afterwards, so... it takes the ward down a little bit faster, but Annihilate is still going to be dealing with some return damage. But to this point, he's got 8 last hits, so it's annoying, yes, but it's not really stopping him at the moment.
No, and that's the power of the Bristle. You're always able to get something, and you see Gunnar even not specking in towards that bottle just yet. I know it's going to take a few tower shots here. They're just nice little plays by both players in this lane, and actually, he didn't see the ward for a second there. Took a little bit of damage.
He's got
Both
the bottle,
mid laners
though,
are
so
incredibly low.
he's going to start regenning up. Gunnar, his bottle not quite here yet. Annihilate, though, he continues to sort of press his luck here. This is concerning, but it's going to get him a couple extra last hits to put some damage in onto the Pugna as well. So at least for right now, Annihilate, assuming that that's going to be sort of a worthwhile play for him, and I mean, it does appear to be working in his favor still. So as maybe concerning as it is watching that health tick down a bit, he is doing okay right now. Meanwhile, what do we got from these other lanes here? Looking up top, Sammy, 8-2 on the board here. Lowest mark among the core heroes, but, well, I mean, he's dealing with a Viper and a Tusk, so this is not exactly going to be a walk in the park for him. He's going to be constantly dealing with that harassment.
And it's very difficult. You're constantly getting the wave pushed into you because of that nether toxin. You can't do much about it. You don't have a sort of a nuke in return. And Husky, as long as he doesn't step too far out of line, will always be able to purge with the Aphotic Shield. He's got an Uv as well. Needs to be a little bit careful, but it's a very boring lane. Everybody just sort of farms. Sammy Boy is definitely getting less out of the lane, but anything is going to be good for him.
Yeah, and really, the damage can be done by Monkeys and Flea, but it's never going to stick. Between the Aphotic Shield, as you said, and the Time Walk, Sammy's just going to be free and clear most of the time. So, kill potential, no. But harass, be annoying, slow him down, really do as much as you can on that front. Seems to be a similar sort of strategy for Jubei over in the bottom lane, as he is pushing that duo of Ocean and Brax all the way back under their tower. That is creating a nice bit of space for Boris to work with here early on.
When up until they get the Orb of Corrosion, and it looks like they won't be getting it anytime soon. Brax is, I think, sported for the bottle. It feels really difficult for them to sort of counteract Jubei. Jubei just does so much damage, especially with that second point in Splinter Blast. You do need to be very careful.
Stunned up there by the cookie, but the Swashbuckle had already been used, so there's no more movement for Brax to work with there. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the map, bit of a fight breaking out. Husky right into the middle of it. Nice shards, though, keeping him from getting that final bit of damage in onto Monkeys Forever as TOOBASED will find the kill. And now Sammy, he doesn't have Time Walk for about 8 more seconds. He's just got to try and run, and I don't think he's going to make it very far. 2 kills for TOOBASED. Monkeys Forever survives that engagement. Flea comes in for the double kill, and that goes about as well as you could have reasonably expected for the TOOBASED side.
And they just know exactly, as soon as they see the Aphotic Shield used, they were getting aggressive on Monkeys, maybe a little bit baited by that Curse of Avernus. They thought that he wouldn't be able to get the puddle down, and once the Nether Toxin is down, your Void does way less damage. You don't have that value point time dilation just yet, so you're definitely not able to get aggressive on it.
They're going in, though, looking for Monkeys, but where's the lockdown? The TP is just going to get him out of that, and yeah, it's a decent attempt from Sammy and Husky, but without any actual stun to cancel the TP, there's no way they can really get that kill. Monkeys, though, very low on regen. He's going to be out of the lane for a while. His teammates, though, picking up kills elsewhere on the map. Jubei able to get in onto Ocean, killing him off, I believe, with the Splinter Blast there. As that's going to be 3 straight for simply TOOBASED.
And it's very hard to get aggressive on this Wraith King, especially with the itemization coming in from Boris, just getting the chainmail as fast as he can. And Jubei has just been keeping the pulls coming. It's been really difficult for them to contest him because there's always a wave forcing into them, and unless they want to risk taking a lot of damage, they really haven't been able to get the same amount of work done. It's really been pretty cut and dry in this bot lane. They always eat a double Splinter Blast.
Boris pushing in, Wraithfire Blast connecting onto Ocean. The Cookie Stun, though, will push Brax into the fight. Ocean himself, though, is still in a little bit of trouble. Jubei's going to try and track him down, but there's nothing for him to actually connect with on that Splinter Blast that would hit Ocean. The damage might have been enough to kill him, but you got to bounce it off of something. So Ocean's going to be able to walk away. 60 HP, though, as those skeletons continue to chase, but looks like he's going to be just fine. But we're seeing quite a bit of sort of early skirmishing here across, well, really the side lanes. Mid's been a little bit more quiet, but it was kind of interesting. We were talking about this being a situation where maybe we have a slightly slower start in terms of teams trying to find that early farm, but they're not shying away from engagements. And speaking of which, middle lane, Gunnar, this is not a fight he wants. 3v1, he is going to drop down the ward, but that's not going to do him any good. Gunnar taken down, the ward will be cleaned up by Flea, and that is 4 straight for TOOBASED. They're really just sort of making their moves, putting their stamp on this game early.
And that's the rotation I was worried about, where you need to be very careful if you're Pugna. You're a very sort of not weak hero, but if you ever get gone on, it's definitely scary. And now top, they're getting turned on.
Even more fighting. They thought they had a chance to get onto Monkeys. They are dropping him low, but not quite low enough. Okay, never mind. Good play from Sammy to get in there. I believe that was just the time lock coming into play for him. Getting him that last little bit of damage, but it is still going to cost him his own life. Flea will clean up Sammy immediately afterwards, and while Force Zoomers get their first kill on the board, it's a 2-for-1 trade in their opponent's favor.
And it's unfortunate he just barely was outside of the range of the puddle. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to bash on the void, and Monkeys would have just got away. Monkeys laughing in the all chat, but instead does go down. But again, whenever you kill a Viper, he just comes back with more mana. It's not fun. And while you do have your ultimate on Sammy Boy, there's not really too many heroes to use with it up until that Snapfire hits her level 6. Then you can maybe get a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, I think almost every lane has been a success for TOOBASED as of now.
Force Zoomers looking to maybe put something together down bot. They do rotate Husky in, so they've got both of the supports here in, well, support of Brax, but at this point, Boris is under the tower. He's level 6. He's just holding the skill point, so even if they can make a move here, they're going to have to get through him twice, and, well, they're going to get him one. Oh, maybe not. Cold Embrace coming through. Boris not dead yet. It looks like he will eventually be taken down. There it is. But the reincarnation is going to get him right back up. Will he pursue any further kills? Husky doesn't have the ult, so they might have been able to jump in onto him, but it looks like Boris isn't going to take that chance. He will simply back himself away, and that might have been a good idea, as Gunnar was sort of rotating his way over as well on the Pugna. So that could have turned into a 2v4 that would not have gone their way, but now Jubei still in some trouble. Going to get hit up by the Nether Blast into the life drain. Cookie stun for motion off the mark. Jubei is going to get the chance to TP away, and they can't reach him in time. So everybody bails out. As middle lane, yeah, what's going on here? Sammy, what in the world? Okay. Desperation Chrono coming through. He can't get this kill, though. Yeah, he's going to have to just fall back. So that is not exactly the way you wanted your first Chronosphere to be deployed, but it is going to save Sammy's life. But at this point, that feels pretty bad. That is about 2.5 minutes on that cooldown. So Sammy already wasn't going to be all too keen on pushing into too many fights, but now without the Chrono, he's just going to be playing PvE for the next 2 minutes.
On all the moving cogs in Dota, as soon as that top tower, you can't really defend it once the Viper's level 6. Flea makes the rotation mid. Gunnar stops really nether blasting the tower from the fog, goes bottom, gets that tower, but all of these forcing moves, it's all from TOOBASED, and it all makes sense, but you can't help but feel that they're very happy with what's going on. Monkeys, he's queuing up the Boots of Travel. He's going to be a little bit more of a greedy Viper, similar to the Viper we saw last night, even paired up with another greedy core. And Annihilate, he just keeps doing this, dragging the creep wave, pulling it to another camp, but it looks like they're finally going to try and push in, get some damage on this mid tower with the Viper, and without Chrono, Force Zoomers don't have the tools.
Yeah, they really aren't in a position to take the team fight right now. Just going to have to let this tower go. Meanwhile, the rest of the lineup is slowly but surely, yeah, making their way down bot. They're going to look for Boris. Rolling Thunder gets it started. Cookie stun there as well. Reincarnation still on cooldown for 90 seconds as they will push their way in. And Boris, there's nothing he can do here. He's going to try to dish out some damage, but he's just constantly locked down. Brax, fantastic plays there with the Rolling Thunder, and they will be able to find the kill. Meanwhile, Gunnar, over in the middle lane, took down a tower. So they get a kill and a tier 1. That's going to be a nice bit of gold going into their hands as Force Zoomers trying to sort of crawl their way back into this.
And that's something we'll see with their lineup. They're very good at playing in that sort of tri-core. Yeah, Flea just killed someone.
Got the first kill onto Ocean. Brax, well, he tries, but at that point he's incredibly low on mana. No way to cancel out that TP either. So Flea finds the kill, TP's back to base, throwing the laugh into the chat all the while. That is a pretty solid pickup for him. Flea knows he can get that kill and get out with no return play from the Pango. Sammy, oh no, Sammy, he's got the time walk though. He is going to be able to get himself away. Gunnar's now rotating in as well, but can they get this kill? Monkeys is dropping relatively low. The Mortimer Kiss is actually coming in as well. Is that enough? Monkeys has to do a little bit of dancing here. He is doing a decent job of dodging it so far, but that DOT may just be enough to bring him down. Not quite yet, but Gunnar is in there with the right click, and he will get the job done himself. So the Monkeys dodging sort of the first initiation, not able to get away from the follow-up, though, as he will be taken down. And Gunnar, that is actually his first kill of the game, one he really did need. He's trying to maintain a spot here near the top of that net worth tab, and a kill like that is certainly going to go a long way towards helping him out.
And, oh, another one.
Again, this time on to Brax. This Tusk just making solo plays. Flea's got 5 kills. He's 5-0-2 on this Tusk. He is just making plays really independent of any of his teammates. That is absolutely incredible.
And this is one of the few heroes that's very scary when you get sort of these levels ahead of the game. He's almost level 9. He does so much damage. He could easily kill. I'm assuming he just caught Brax maybe farming a camp, swashing through maybe the small. I see the
Ooh,
small's a little bit low
Husky.
HP.
Gonna get
Not
caught
level
out in the middle
6.
lane. Yep, still not there yet, but the TP from Brax is actually going to persuade TOOBASED to fall back. Annihilate, though, not entirely giving up on this play. He's going to try to push forward again, but I don't really think he can get this. He's not going to be able to get any further stacks, as Husky is just going to remove them with the Aphotic Shield. So if you're Annihilate, it was worth a shot, just in case maybe they're sort of sleeping on the job, not paying attention, but he's not going to be able to push any further forward. But Annihilate able to shove 2 heroes back in the lane all by himself. That is sort of the intimidation factor that TOOBASED have, as Sammy, I don't know about this one. He does have the chrono, but he doesn't have the damage. He is going to need backup here, but okay. Gets in a bash. Ocean's moving forward. He's got the kisses up in 5, so they've just got to wait a little while longer, and they will try for this. But Flea is now in position, and I said he didn't have the damage. That was not true. Sammy's just able to get it done. Mask of Madness comes into play. He gets some bashes in there as well, actually, yeah. So a little bit of luck on his side, but it's going to work out. Monkeys gets taken down, and they don't even need the Mortimer kisses out from Ocean.
And Jube was, I believe, just stacking bottom. He's got TPs coming out to him right now, but was in no position to help his Viper. And now that you have Boots of Travel, you are sort of able to play in these lanes as far up as he is, but you need to be careful getting caught like that. Now that they don't have Chrono, there is a lot less to combo with this Mortimer's Kisses, so it will feel a lot better. But again, if you're monkeys, you need to be a little bit cautious. If you do get sort of caught out, the Kisses still hurt you. You're not really a fast enough hero to sort of walk around or sort of escape them. And at the same time, Brax, we haven't really seen him able to use his Rolling Thunder out on the map. He's really just been farming. He's got almost 100 last hits. He really has been getting a lot done, and once he has Blink Dagger, maybe we'll see a little bit more, but looks like he's just taking spells.
Brax swashbuckling himself away down bot, but now Rolling Thunder will be channeled. They're going to try and go in for this. I don't know if there's enough damage between these two, but Husky's making his way in. They've got Gunner in position as well. They're going to try to get onto Jube first, and they will be able to lock him down. Unfortunately, that means Monkeys is able to get himself away from the fight, but if you're 4-zoomers, you still find the kill. Momentum continues to sort of build up for them, but you were hoping for something a little bit more valuable. However, Gunner is still here. He's still got the maxed out Nether Blast, so they could try to get some damage in onto the tier 2 while that creep wave lives for all of 2 seconds.
Yeah, and this is the power of Pugna. It's something that never really changes. You're always able to get this guaranteed damage on the towers. Yeah, they're looking at Flea, and Flea is actually just really menacingly just standing on the high ground. They found Brax, and I think he's just gone.
Able to swashbuckle himself out initially, but the snowball will lock him down. Good shards, though, from Flea. Forces out that shield crash, but that's not enough movement. Brax will still be taken down. Monkeys gets the kill. TOOBASED pushing their way further forward, but they're not going to be able to catch anyone else. TPs and just straight up retreats will get the rest of 4-zoomers away, but that's a nice maneuver. You put a stop to that push onto your tier 2 tower, you find yourself, honestly, a relatively easy kill onto that Pangolier as well.
And while it doesn't feel the best to have your tower get taken down to half HP, I like what they're doing now. They're smoking up. They're letting Flea take the lead. Flea is really their catch. He's really the best hero at sort of finding these pickoffs, and they're looking for someone farming the triangle. I don't think they're going to be happy to find Husky, but that might be all they can get.
Yeah, no better targets. Snowball gets him in. Walrus Punch will be there. The shards, nah, there we go. Going to be deployed as Husky, well, buying some time. Ult will be popped. Gunner and Brax are into the fight. Rolling Thunder will be there. They go for the life drain as well. Nice Winter's Curse coming out, though, into the Cold Embrace. It's going to buy Flea time, but not quite enough. He will still fall, and now 4-zoomers looking to go on the offensive. They've got Annihilate isolated from the rest of his team. Sammy wants in. Does he go for the Chrono yet? Not just yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, deploying it onto 2. They're going to try and take down both Annihilate and Monkeys. They will get the Viper down. Annihilate, though, still alive for the time being, trying to push his way forward. Going in with the Quill Sprays. Ocean and Gunner going to be his primary targets. They want that Pugna down. Can they actually get him, though? Not quite yet. Life Drain coming through. Annihilate dropping low. Ocean turns around with Mortimer Kisses. And Bristle, he is pretty tanky, but I don't know if he's going to be tanky enough. He's hit up by the Decrep into another Life Drain, and 4-zoomers will bring him down, and now they're in onto Jube. Winter Wyvern on the run. No spells available whatsoever. No mana to work with here either, as he will be taken down. Gunner picks up the double, and that goes from a 4-man gank onto an ABBA into 4 kills for 4-zoomers, and no casualties on their own side.
And that's really the issue with two-base lineup. It is all on Flea. If Flea is not able to stick on a target, kill them, if that was any other hero, that goes much, much differently. They get the kill, they move on, and then Four Zoomers most likely don't engage. But Gunnar finishes his Octarine Core right at the beginning of that fight. He is able to take down Jubei, and once they use their spells, they use the Winter's Curse, they use these big cooldowns, what do? Sammy as well has just been perfect with these chronospheres. He's getting the one hero that could sort of save anyone. He's not strong enough to kill a hero without his time locks, and Monkeys Forever's Nether Toxin is the only way to stop him from hitting. They're really just, I think, kiting around two-base lineup a little too well right now. They need to get this Ags on Annihilate before they can really start having that AoE control that otherwise their lineup just inherently doesn't have.
Yeah, they are, at this point, kind of struggling a little bit as Boris running into Sammy Boy there up in the top lane. Not going to really have a whole lot come out of that. They will simply go their separate ways. Sammy Boy, though, trying to clean up the creep wave. That siege creep did get maybe 1 or 2 hits in onto the tier 2, but Sammy Boy's going to be able to clean it up. Meanwhile, his teammates still hanging out down bot. Monkeys is alone down here, so Brax, with the right initiation with the Rolling Thunder, could make something happen, but as of right now, looks like Four Zoomers much more interested in taking the tower. So they would rather go for the objective as opposed to chasing after the kill, although at this point, if this goes on for much longer, they could potentially try for both, but they're going to have to wait a little while longer. The new creep wave is coming in, and Gunner's actually going to TP home, looking to sort of regen that mana. He had used pretty much all of it going after the tower.
Yeah, all the mana expended. That's really the only limiting factor on Pugna as a hero. No arcane boots as well on his team, so, but everybody else stays bottom. They're able to get that tower. They know that only the Viper's there. They've got a really good warding, really able to see these heroes walking in and out of their jungle. And they know if there are 2 cores farming that triangle area, they're going to be pretty unhappy with their lineup. But Boris, he's been in this top lane for such a long time. He's finally able to have his Radiance completed. And we'll see maybe two-base try to make a play then, but I really don't think they should up until they have this Aghanim Scepter and this BKB on Monkeys. If they give up too much ground to Zoomers, we saw last game, they were able to just push that advantage all the way up until the game was over for two-based. And I'm positive two-based don't want to let that happen to themselves again.
Yeah, gotta be very careful. Gotta resist that temptation right now. It feels like at this point, either side can still win these fights, and it feels that way because that's true. But if you're two-based and you lose the engagement, you have so much further to potentially fall at this point compared to your opponents, or at least that's the way it's sort of felt to this point. So the discipline has to sort of kick in here. They need to be able to get those next sides up and running. Then they can try for something. But for that point, gotta try and lay off. Annihilate still several thousand off of that Aghanim Scepter, but he may not have the chance to avoid this fight. They're coming at him. Gonna hit him up with a decrep. Gunner, though, doesn't want to go much further. I think they realized that the backup was nearby. Jubei and Flea both in the area, so not gonna take that risk just yet, although we do see a little bit of damage being exchanged in that middle lane. Annihilate getting hit up by the Nether Ward, but at this point he's tanky enough to not really care. Meanwhile, yeah, Brax, that... not the greatest.
It's for fun. He's getting bored.
Oh, okay. Might need to get himself away from this one, as Annihilate's going to try to push his way forward. Looks like Brax will just get himself out. Nice swashbuckle play to create that separation. The Yule Scepter coming in handy as well, and everybody gets out safely, and at this point the Rolling Thunder, only 40 seconds on the cooldown. So, as you said, having a little bit of fun, nothing too risky for him, but Ocean getting caught out in the middle lane. The Snapfire not able to create enough with that Fire Snap cookie. He gets locked down and taken out as Flea. We talked about it earlier on. He just keeps on making plays. It slowed for a little while there as his team took a bit of a step back, but now, as they try to maybe push their way forward again, yeah, he is making plays. But
damage though.
Yeah, Monkeys can TP himself out. Nicely done there. Was there really anything they could do? No. Without the Rolling Thunder, they don't have the lockdown. So.
And actually, seeing the Pugna TP bottom, they're just immediately going to make the call to Roche. This is a really good play. This is incredibly tight.
Smallest,
one of the big reasons.
Smallest of windows here for them. They're going to go for it. Is there any response at all? I don't think Four Zoomers even know this is happening. Oh, they know now, but there it is.
And when neither side is really wanting to make these plays, it really is those small imbalances, and having Tuskar, you're just always have that tag team available to you, and they just do so much physical damage with the Bristleback. It's something to do, and taking it away from Four Zoomers, they don't have the most adept lineup at killing it either. They've got a lot of anti-armor, but really, now that they have that Aegis out of the hands of 4-Zoomers at least, Annihilate can sort of be that vanguard in front and give a little bit more opportunities for 4-Zoomers to maybe make a mistake. Now that Boris has his Blink Dagger as well, those heroes in the backline, specifically the Pugna and the Snapfire, they always need to be careful of that Wraith King jumping in and causing chaos, because if he gets too many spells cast on him, he's just gonna come back.
Question now, if you're two-based, you've got the Aegis in hand, what exactly do they look to do with it? Annihilate is pushing his way a little bit further forward, making it a bit of a surge into the north side jungle, but his teammates are a little bit more interested in pushing towards the middle lane. They briefly, I think, had eyes on Ocean, but I don't know if they can actually catch up at this point. Flea has given it a good go, but actually, at this point, it may not be Ocean that they run into. They could try and go for Brax. They do have monkeys nearby to try and contribute with the extra damage, but looks like 4-Zoomers are actually going to push in first. Monkey's under attack, Pugna TP's in, and they will be able to bring down that Viper. There is going to be a response, though. Boris into the fight. Snowball will be deployed as well. Gunner locked down and taken out. Witch's Curse, meanwhile, cancels Ocean's TP, but they're not going to be able to lock down Brax. So, Brax makes it out. Ocean, though, will end up being sacrificed. Presumably, although he's actually not dead yet. There we go. Wraithfire Blast in from Boris. That will be enough.
There's no real way that Gunner could have known what he was TPing into. They needed him to get the damage out to kill that Viper, but still, it's very unfortunate losing your Pugnus life like that, because up until that point, he hasn't died in a very long time. He's really been quite elusive, and 4-Zoomers have been putting resources into helping him not die. Really, Husky has been falling around that Pugna for quite some time now, so losing him now, it's a little disconcerting, because Pugna is not one of those heroes that really comes back. Once he gets that Blink Dagger, it's going to continue to be a very difficult kill, I think, for two-based. But until then, if he's got a Blink Dagger of his own, now I think two-based can really get more aggressive if they want to. At the same time, though, Ags is also coming out from Annihilate. This is really quite a big timing that two-based could hit if they start running out them pretty much right now. Really, the only cooldown they have to wait on is Winter's Curse in 20 seconds.
They have an opening, and at this point, Annihilate getting the Aghanim Scepter. I mean, he's still got the Aegis. This is really, I think, the perfect time for them to try and push for something, as we see him making his way up to the north once again. Last time around, he wasn't really able to find that target, but we'll see what's in here this time around, as Sammy was hanging out nearby, but good call from the Phases. He doesn't want to get caught out. He'll simply TP himself down. Oh, God. Down bot just in time. Flea blinked in. He was looking for the Walrus Punch, but maybe a half second there, saving the Faceless Void from a fight he really would not have wanted.
Well, and now pushing into this top wave, Annihilate, he's able to tank up, and I don't think you're going to want to take the fight if you're the Zoomers. You want to maybe get damage on this mid tower, that would be the best, but forcing them back to their high ground, or one hero to respond to this tier 3 tower, you can't deal with the chip. You need to sort of give a response, or at least feign a response. You already see Gunner TPing back to the base now. He knows he needs mana, and having that Blink Dagger, he is a much rougher kill. It's a lot more difficult for them to ever get on top of him, but if he ever messes up, that's just going to be the end of it.
Meanwhile, down bottom. Bratton locked down by the Winter's Curse, not able to get himself out of there just yet, but he does still have another second or two. He's going to look for the TP home, and at this point, they can't really stop him. Flea, it was worth a try, blinking in, hoping for the Walrus Punch, but doesn't quite have the range to make it happen. So Brax will get away. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the map, Annihilate is a little bit isolated, but they're actually going to go in for... Ooh, they're going to go in for Boris, but Sammy whiffs on the Chrono. Yeah, that laugh, that's appropriate. Unfortunate. Sammy
kind of
whiffing
out of
on
the
it.
base now. They're trying to catch him off.
He's going back in. Sees an opportunity here. Can he actually catch anyone, though? He can't, but Boris can't. Pushing forward, Wraithfire Blast deployed onto the Abba. Nice cookie, though, to push Husky back into the base, and those shards from Flea just a little bit off the mark. Not able to get the block off that they needed, so 4-Zoomers will pull everybody back, but now look at this. Gunner actually making a transition down to the bottom lane. He knows now, with so many two-based heroes up in that sort of north side jungle area, he has a chance to go for the split push.
And this is exactly what he needs to do. Without Chrono, it's a massive mistake. He was trying to get Boris. They wouldn't even been able to kill Boris without popping his reincarnation. So it's a little bit risky. They will be able to find Jubei, I think. But here comes the reinforcements.
Buying time, Flea in with the Walrus Punch. Jubei saved for now by that snowball. He's still dead. There's really no way. Yeah, Sammy's going to be able to lock him down. Now they want more. They're going to push their way in onto Flea, try to take down the Tusk. Gunner just draining away that life. Brax is the one who actually gets the kill, though. But that is going to be both of the supports taken down on the two-base side. But Well, Husky falling as well. Immediately buying back, though. The fight is on his side of the map, so he's right back in onto the tier 1 tower. They've gotten through the reincarnation. Mortimer Kiss is now being deployed as well as Boris is in some trouble. Can they actually track him down, though? They need to be able to lock him up a little bit longer, as Boris will be taken down. I Annihilate unable to do anything to defend his teammate, as he will now fall back. But this is turning into an absolute disaster. Monkey's dangerously low on HP. He's going to try to get away, but he actually kills himself to the Nether Ward, as Gunner will get that kill. And TOOBASED, they just can't keep this one going. Flea's going to try to get himself away, but I Annihilate is the true prize for 4 Zoomers. They are chasing in after him. They get the decrep down. Can they actually lock this down, though? Sammy is making his way through the tree line. They're going to try to hit him up, getting in onto him with the time dilation, but they still have to get through this tanky Bristle. He is not going down easily, but Jubei coming in. Winter's Curse will be deployed. I Annihilate, though, still dropping low. They can't really save him. The Cold Embrace, though, he's going to be there buying more time. Sammy, though, continuing to lay in the hits. Gunner coming in with the life drain once again. I Annihilate just dancing for his life, but eventually they will bring him down. Sammy gets the kill, and 4 Zoomers will bring that fight to some sort of end. That one went on forever.
And they have the perfect heroes for doing what they're doing. Sammy Boy, they don't have enough damage for him right now. They don't have enough lockdown, and that's why we see he's trying to get a Hex on the Viper of all people, because right now they don't have the control. They've got nothing to hold down the heroes on 4 Zoomers. They're just healing through way too much. If anybody ever got low there, Gunner always has the option to life drain them, and they just have no way to burst these heroes anymore. It feels like too much time has been allotted to the 4 Zoomer side, and while they haven't lost any racks, there's been no lasting damage. It feels like these fights are going to continue to get more and more chaotic, and I don't know how these heroes are going to get anything done. Once Boris is in now, he's in. He's getting a BKB next, but he really doesn't feel like the monster right now. The monster that we need this Wraith King to be, to spend 1 chrono on and waste chrono. Because now Sammy Boy, he's got an Ags. He's going to be so obnoxious. He's just going to constantly jump in and out. And TOOBASED, without that buyback on Flea, all the pressure's on Flea, and it keeps continuing to be on Flea. And I don't know if he's really going to be able to take it past this point.
Yeah, this is the problem. And we mentioned it briefly in the draft. It was more geared towards Jubei than Flea, but the same principle applies. You need the plays from these supports to be, the phrase we use, luxuries rather than necessities. That is not the case right now. If they don't get the Winter's Curse, if Flea isn't in there for the lockdown, the fight is not a guaranteed loss, but as we've seen so far, they have immediately struggled without that setup from the supports to keep the fight going for themselves. So the pressure is sort of mounting on the supports of all people. Not entirely sure if Jubei and Flea are going to be able to consistently provide what TOOBASED need to turn this one around. As I Annihilate getting a little pressured up here in the middle lane. Sammy Boy wants in. He's getting the bashes down. I Annihilate already down to about 2/3 of his health, and there's going to be the Chrono Ocean. In now with the Mortimer Kisses as well. Nice play, though, with the Cold Embrace. That's going to buy a little bit of time. Will it be enough, though? I Annihilate still dropping low. He is spamming out the Quill Sprays, though, but there's going to be that reverse Time Walk, getting that damage away. Sammy Boy, though, still doesn't want to keep going, but Brax certainly does. He's going to push his way forward, but the Winter's Curse will be deployed. Defensive life drain from Gunner, though, going to be there to keep Husky alive as Sammy just keeps on pushing forward. The man knows no fear. He's going to get all the way in, but over on the other side, Boris jumped onto the backline. He'll take down Gunner. He's looking for Ocean as well, and the Snowball from Flea will provide them with that lockdown that they need as Boris, okay, he's just going to let his opponent burn to death. Ocean taken down, but Sammy, he's just going to keep on going, chasing down I Annihilate. This Bristle just can't seem to get himself away, as he is going to hold his ground. Boris, though, coming back in to help out. And now, with the presence of the Wraith King, this may be more than 4 Zoomers can handle. They're going to try and back out with Sammy. Husky, though, is still in some trouble. Getting tracked down further to the west. They will finish him off as Boris gets the crit, but over in the middle lane, Flea still not giving up on this play. Rolling forward with the Snowball. Gets the Walrus Punch down, but at this point, where's his backup? Monkeys was backing off exactly as Flea goes in, so they will end up losing that Tusk, and now Sammy is going to be able to make his way out of here. Brax, though, well, not actually locked down. He's able to get himself away with the roll-up into the Swashbuckle, and it looks like the fight has finally come to an end, but honestly, that one doesn't go nearly as poorly for TOOBASED as it was sort of looking at the start. When that Chrono was deployed, really seemed like I Annihilate was going to be taken down, but they keep him alive, and they find a couple of kills in exchange.
And Boris found the immediate target. He found, somehow, Gunner. If Gunner just showed a little bit too hard in the wave, I'm not sure how he had the vision, or maybe it's just this ward coming in from TOOBASED, giving them all the knowledge they needed, and there was no save. Husky was too busy helping Sammy Boy. You saw Husky frantically trying to run back to Gunner, but it was just too little, too late. And they do need to be a little bit careful, because Sammy Boy, with the way he's itemized, he's the support. He needs sort of his teammates to finish off a lot of these kills. He does a lot of damage, and he's very obnoxious, but in a straight-up 1v1, he definitely still struggles.
Sammy Boy running into some trouble here up top. He tried to go on onto Boris, but with Monkeys Forever TPing in, this is going to get a little bit more complicated, but they do turn onto the Wraith King, dropping him low. The Cold Embrace, though, will be there to help out, but Boris is still going to be losing that first life. The Reincarnation will be toggled, or popped, rather, excuse me. The question is, where will the reinforcements come from? Oh, okay, it's going to be Jubei coming in with that Winter's Curse. Boris is able to TP himself out. It looks like the Wyvern is basically going to have to sacrifice herself to make that play happen, but that gets the Wraith King out. That was the most important part of that play. That Reincarnation's only 20 seconds away now, but at this point, Zoomer is still looking to chase forward. They do manage to get that lucky shot proc onto Monkeys, and they're going to push in. Sammy Boy has only a few seconds left for the Chrono, so they could turn this into a much larger fight as Monkeys already going to be taken down. Sammy wants forward, but not going to pop that Chrono, and that was probably a good thing. That blink from the Wraith got him out just in time, and that Chronosphere would have whiffed.
Now Roshan just respawning just a moment ago, and they're just immediately in. There's nothing they can do about it. This is going to be Shard, Cheese, Aegis.
Yeah, too much here for TOOBASED to contend with. They're not going to be able to get into position in time, and they don't even have their full lineup. So Roshan will be taken. Sammy Boy getting the Aegis into his hands. Ocean will take the Shard. Gunner will pick up the Cheese. So that Shard upgrade on the Snapfire actually is a pretty solid one. The extra damage, the pushback, the stun, really going to give Zoomers just that little bit of extra lockdown. We mentioned in some of those earlier fights that was a bit of an issue for them. When they were chasing after I Annihilate in particular, they chased him basically across half the map. Didn't have quite enough lockdown to keep him in place. They just had to sort of run after him. But if the Scatterblast is going to be there pretty consistently to lock him down, then that could make life a little bit more simple for Zoomers in terms of setting up these engagements.
And to that point, Sammy Boy has really been the disable. As soon as that roll has sort of been countered by that curse, and Jubei keeps on having to curse this Pango, otherwise his Viper would be dying a lot sooner in these fights, then it really is just up to the Snapfire. And having it, it's just such a strong tool. If you get clipped by it even a little bit, the follow-up cookie is always there. And actually, Brax is just in.
Jubei going to get himself taken down as well, and well, this is turning into a problem. I Annihilate's going to get hit up here. He is on the high ground, though, so he is going to be able to hold his ground, but here comes Zoomers pushing their way towards the top lane, looking to get some damage onto the tier 3. Monkeys, though, is going to try... Oh, he's going to try to pull that creep aggro away, but Sammy Boy comes in with the Chronosphere. The Mortimer Kiss is deployed as well. They burn through Monkeys right away. Boris going to be losing his first life here as well, as the Reincarnation will be popped, but I Annihilate trying to push forward. Jubei comes in after buying back, drops down that Winter's Curse. It's going to hit up onto 3, but they can't get any sort of follow-up kills here. Now Flea, he's snowballing over onto Sammy, but that's actually going to pull him out of the base. He doesn't want to be that far forward, but his teammates sure do. Boris pushing forward, I Annihilate in as well. They've taken down both Ocean and Husky, but they're looking for more. Tracking down Brax right now. Actually going to turn their attention onto Gunner instead, as the Pugna is incredibly slow. He is unable to get himself away. Sammy, though, desperately trying to get in there, hoping to save his teammate as I Annihilate will be pushed back, but Brax is still sort of the man left in the middle here, as he is just going to have to stand in that tree line and get himself taken down. 3 dead on 4 Zoomers, but Gunner and Sammy are still making their escape, or at least attempting to. Can Gunner get himself into a safe spot? Blinking his way forward, going for the TP out. Boris is going to try to close in time, but he's not going to make it.
And what an attempt from Jubei. If anything, it's a testament to Gunner. Gunner has been just decrepping himself off cooldown over and over again. It's 100% uptime at this point. The duration's actually longer than the cooldown. And because of that, the curse just goes topside. You're not able to get the damage off. Otherwise, Gunner would have been dead instantly. There would have been no contest there. And he's proving himself to be a very annoying hero for I Annihilate to deal with. But again, if TOOBASED can force the 3-4-5 to feed on 4 Zoomers, the control just starts to lack. You actually have to be a little bit scared on this Pugna whenever you can't get that easy shield off. And while you didn't lose Aegis, you didn't lose your Cheese. Oh, another fight's brewing.
Oh, Sammy pushing his way forward. Jubei gonna get sacrificed, and he actually just bought back. He's down for quite some time. 70 seconds on the sideline, and honestly, that may be enough. Normally, you wouldn't consider the Wyvern to be the sort of hero that lets you push that high ground, but they've still got Aegis and Cheese, and now that Winter's Curse is no longer available. So we'll see if 4 Zoomers try to push their way back in either mid or top. They would presumably need Gunner to sort of help out in terms of that pushing power, but what exactly do they want to go for right now? Sammy, well, he's hanging out in the middle lane, but not going to commit for it fully. Using that reverse time walk to get himself out, even actually getting the procs off from the Ags as well. So he's just able to get in there, do a bit of damage, back himself away before anyone can actually catch up.
Yep, and he's just playing around the fact that TOOBASED, they don't have any disable. Still, we're not going to see any Abyssal Blades or Bashers. They just simply don't have those type of heroes. The biggest lockdown coming out maybe being Monkey's Hex, But once he gets that Hex, he's still going to be so far away from buyback. Buyback on cooldown as well. It's just a risk. And if Monkeys gets chronoed again, he will just go down. He doesn't have a blink dagger. They're not mobile enough to save him. And he's the only one that's been consistently getting chronoed, because with Sammy Boy's build, if he gets broken, all of his damage is gone.
No.
Everything is about the time lock.
Monkey's gonna get jumped in on. They hit him up with that initial time lock proc, and that's just too easy. Monkey's too far out there. Nothing to protect himself, and now Sammy dropping down the chrono. They're going to get in onto Boris. Can they actually take him down in time? Not really. Not during the duration of the chrono, but Boris is still losing life rapidly, but they're not going to be able to finish him off just yet. Annihilate pushes his way onto the front line. He is going to serve as the distraction. He is tanky enough for now to sort of absorb that damage and allow his team to regroup behind him. Sammy is just going in for the tier 3. He wants the objectives. He's going to focus in onto the racks here as well. He's got that orb for the extra armor reduction, and the rack's dropping pretty rapidly. Boris, though, jumping in. They're going to look to pop Husky's ult. They do manage to do so, but Husky's simply going to fall back. He's going to be just fine for the time being. All the while, Sammy just kept on pushing for the racks. He is going to be able to bring it down. He is now dropping low himself, but the time walk gets him out of that situation, and I don't really know if TOOBASED want to keep on charging here. The Aegis has now expired, but that is going to heal Sammy Boy all the way up to full.
And they just weren't able to accomplish anything. Jubei had to hold Curse for so long. He knows that if they ever truly commit, he's going to have to use it. At the same time, I think Sammy Boy got a little ahead of himself. He thought about capturing 2 heroes there. He saw the hero TPing in the trees, so thought he was going to get a double, but instead they just simply cancel their TP. They don't end up throwing anything away. But still, TOOBASED, it feels like it's starting to be a back against the wall situation. Boris, I know he's not going to queue up the Divine, but get that Sacred Relic, going for the Nullifier next. They want to punish this team. For Zoomers, they have no BKBs. It's so rare that you see no BKBs being built in Dota, but really, TOOBASED just don't have enough for it to actually matter. Everything that they've sort of itemized for is not really mattering to anything that the 4 Zoomers are doing. They've really just had to buy as whatever luxury items they have. I mean, Sammy Boy's getting a Scotty coming out right now. He already wasn't dying before, but add another 600-700 HP on top of that, it feels like this Void just isn't a target they can kill. No Vessel either. It just feels like TOOBASED have not itemized correctly enough, or they just don't have good enough heroes to sort of take this Void down. They need to wait for him to be the last hero to kill at this point.
And speaking of sort of aggressive itemization, Sammy Boy even holding on to the leveler at this point. So more attack speed, more damage, the extra armor thrown in onto him as well. So I mean, at that point, you've got your chrono, you've got the time walk on an incredibly short cooldown. You really don't need those sorts of defensive items. So until TOOBASED force them to adapt, really 4 Zoomers are just going to keep on pushing in, and at this point it's been working out pretty damn well for them. So I don't really imagine they're going to be changing course anytime soon, unless this match goes significantly longer here. We're coming up on about 38-39 minutes. 4 Zoomers don't want to let it go quite that long. Sammy Boy pushing his way forward. A little bit of damage in onto Annihilate. Not enough to actually start the full fight, though, but just going to sort of let him know that he's there. Meanwhile, up top, Monkey's in some trouble. Roll up from Brax allows him to turn right back around for the continued damage and lockdown. Gunner now comes in as well for the life drain. Dropping the Suns fan spray right at the end there as well, as Gunner gets the kill. And Monkeys will be taken down again. 60 seconds on the sideline. Buyback still on cooldown for 2 minutes.
And everything, it is time, but again, dieback in the top lane.
Oh my god,
So much
Annihilate.
damage
Look
on
at those
Bristle.
bashes. That is absolutely insane. And Sammy, he's still going. Annihilate really does have to fall back at that point, as he was taking way too much damage from that play. Sammy, though, now has a chance to push his way forward. He's going to get damage onto the tier 3. Gunner coming in with another blast as well, so they will rapidly be losing more and more of the base here on the TOOBASED side. They really right now just can't seem to hold the line. Without Monkeys Forever, this gets incredibly difficult.
And 25 on Sammy, he really just shrugs off everything. He does not care about your damage.
Oh.
We found Jubei.
There it is. Chrono comes out. Jubei locked down. They even get Boris up in it as well. Can they get through the first life? Yes, they can. Reincarnation will be procced. Annihilate. Desperately trying to spam out these abilities, but at this point, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Boris activating the BKB, trying to get himself away from this fight. Annihilate trying to back out as well, but they are just getting locked down over and over again. Flea, though, coming in. Going to try and buy some time with that snowball. That does create a little bit of separation, but Sammy Boy right back in. Pushing forward, getting down that immediate time lock proc, and Annihilate will be taken down. He doesn't have buyback. No buyback on the Bristle. He's 500 gold short, which means Boris has to hold it by himself, but the reincarnation isn't available again, and he's dead too. 100 seconds on the sideline, and at this point, TOOBASED, they might just be out of time. Monkeys will be taken down as well, and yep, GG will be called.
And really, what do? You have this Faceless Void, you have this draft coming up from 4 Zoomers, you were aiming to win these lanes, you were aiming to sort of barrel down these lanes, you last picked the Bristleback, but you just didn't hit your timing fast enough. I mean, you had double Blink Daggers, you had an Aegis on the Bristleback, 4 Zoomers just dodged them completely. They didn't give them a convincing 5v5 fight ever. 4 Zoomers just picked and choose their fights up and down pretty much the entire game, and you look at the win probability, it feels like every single chrono was just a dig at 2-based. And even though chronos, we missed a chrono, we got a chrono on one hero, but it just didn't matter because Sammy Boy was untouched. They just simply didn't have enough lockdown or control to keep the heroes on 4 Zoomers down, and it just sort of barreled into a late game situation where you're versus Void, you're versus a Pugna, and they just keep saving each other. That must have been an incredibly frustrating game for Simply 2-based.
I think one thing to actually point out here at the end, taking a look at the scoreboard, look at how balanced the attack was from 4 Zoomers. You talked about it a little bit there as well, the fact that they had heroes sort of saving each other, but the fact of the matter is, they weren't overly reliant on anyone. Right? 8-2 for Sammy, 8-3 for Gunner, even 8 kills there for Ocean, so every single member of 4 Zoomers could be relied upon either for damage, for lockdown, or in Husky's case, just for that defensive strength, whereas 2-based, the longer that game went on, the more and more they ended up being reliant on 1 or 2 heroes to get off those crucial spells. So the ability to sort of diffuse that responsibility across the entirety of the lineup, one of the strengths of 4 Zoomers, as they do get themselves the win here, and that is going to be a 2-0 sweep for them. They take this one pretty cleanly at Simply 2-based's expense, but we are not done. Taking a look at 4 Zoomers, they're actually going to be in action once again. They've got themselves another series to play here in just a little bit. They took down one NA squad. Now they're going to test themselves against some South American teams, as they will be facing off against Hikori in presumably just a couple of minutes. So we're going to be hopping into a bit of a commercial break. Before we go, though, quick sort of shout out here to the sponsor for this event. LootBet has been very much kind enough to help us put this event together. So thank you very much to LootBet, and we've got ourselves a message from that sponsor as well. New users can get a 100% bonus on their first deposit up to 150 euros. Use code PRO on loot.bet. That's PRO, P-R-O, to get that bonus. Meanwhile, existing users can also find more promotions when they visit loot.bet as well. So shout out to LootBet. Haven't quite been giving them their due so far, but they are very much part of the reason why this event gets sort of put together here, really right on the eve of the major and the TI qualifiers. So thank you very much, LootBet. Thank you for helping us put this one together. As always, though, for those of you out there, please remember to bet responsibly. But thank you very much for the support to LootBet. In the meantime, we are going to be hopping into that commercial break now. We will be coming back with 4 Zoomers versus Hikori in just a little bit. So stick around. We've got more action coming your way.